Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. The city is making some safety improvements at Sandpoint Beach. That's in response to the death of two men who believed to have drowned. Plus, pro-Palestinian protesters at the University of Windsor disrupting a Senate meeting today by creating a checkpoint. And the last game of five-pin bowling is being held today at Palladium Lanes. After 80 years, the bowling alley is shutting down. The City of Windsor has made some changes to Sandpoint Beach. That's after two men drowned last week. The CBC's Dale Molnar now on those safety updates and how the families of the two men are coping.
Workers today were putting the finishing touches on a new 8-foot fence that went up yesterday. That's roughly double what it was previously. It extends several meters along the beach and also to the water's edge. The volleyball court near the fence has also been removed. It's an effort to keep people away from the dangerous currents at the western end. Councillor Angelo Marignani has also recommended the installation of new multilingual signage.
I have 5 that I'm looking at: Hindu, Arabic, English, French, and Spanish. But I think before that decision is made, it should be first vetted through council.
As a health unit board member, Marignani also wants them to include beach safety when talking to new post-secondary students.
So now they're going to add a component which talks about water safety and specifically the concerns that we have here at Sandpoint.
The corporate security manager at Southwestern Sales, the aggregate company at the western side of the beach, has confirmed to CBC News that their security cameras have shown that Yogesh Bajgai and Rohit Deer did not access the water through their property the night they died, but the company says they are looking to see if they can make any more security improvements.
We are looking, should we remove the shrubbery on this berm? Should we put more, for lack of a better phrase, more jagged concrete to make it unattractive to go over?
Lifeguards are normally not on duty until mid-June, but the city is trying to get them in place as soon as possible, something the body that oversees lifeguards is in favor of.
Having lifeguards on duty is always the best thing. And again, like I said, it's the best and safest place to swim.
Meanwhile, family members of the two men who drowned here last week are fundraising online to cover costs of the funerals and also to cover the cost of shipping the body of Rohit Deer back to India. The family members of Yogesh are in the midst of a 13-day ritual fast and celebrations. But Yogesh's uncle says Yogesh was the sole breadwinner for the family and their future is uncertain.
This family is going through a lot of financial hardship. It is not certain that the family will be able to afford this home and afford daily living. So I'm really concerned on that part.
But he is happy with the immediate fixes at the beach.
It is little late. We have lost so many lives already. But city has heard us and city has heard public concerns.
The long-term goal is to move the beach eastward. Marignani says when engineering reports come to council early next year, he will push to get the money to move the beach on next year's budget. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
A downtown Windsor parking lot could be the new site of a 14-story apartment building or taller. Windsor's mayor announced the city is looking for expressions of interest. The lot at Cairn Avenue and University Avenue West is city-owned.
We're inviting developers and proponents to submit comprehensive proposals that will align with Windsor's vision of smart housing solutions for sustainable, inclusive, and community-oriented development. On this particular property, our planning department has identified that they could go up to 14 stories already. There's the prospect that with some other infrastructure work, perhaps underground work, we could go even higher at this particular site.
Formal proposals will be accepted until August 23rd. The city has launched a website for submissions, and administration is building a developer registry that already has 30 entries. One developer informally asked Councillor Ronaldo Agostino about the possibility of a 40-story building on the site. The parking lot is just one of the city properties that is up for sale as part of the Windsor's Housing Solution Plan released in March. Today, the mayor also confirmed that 2 more downtown properties are on that list: Windsor Arena and the former Grace Hospital site. There's already an unsolicited private proposal to restore the arena as a sports venue. Meanwhile, the city is facing a lawsuit over canceled development plans for the Grace Hospital site. But Windsor's downtown councillor remains optimistic about all the development talk.
We see all these great developments happening. There's almost like an announcement every 3 days. To me, the most important thing is making downtown Windsor a neighborhood. And the only way you can make a neighborhood is by bringing more people. But we need people living down here, enjoying the amenities that we have, the new ones that are going to come, and then going back home in our downtown core.
The pro-Palestinian encampment at the University of Windsor has entered its 22nd day. This afternoon, they took their message just outside of the university's Senate meeting.
Our demonstration is this part of one of the disruption of the Senate meeting. Every time somebody tries to enter, they're experiencing what it means to be at a checkpoint. They experience what it means to have to stand there. You need a place to go. You have a place to go. You need to be somewhere, but you can't. Imagine you're a student and you have an exam. It's the most important exam of your life. But your ability to take that exam is dependent on whether or not that army person or somebody at the checkpoint is willing to let you go. If the checkpoint is open, if the checkpoint is nice today, if they're trying to go quickly or slowly. All of these things on a daily life are dependent on if the Israeli offensive forces are going to be nice to you today.
A Windsor woman is organizing a rally this weekend as a stand against street harassment. University professor Natalie Dalia's 11-year-old daughter was at the receiving end of a catcall. On Sunday night along the river, Dalia is organizing the event titled Speak Out to End Street Harassment. She's the head of the University of Windsor's Interdisciplinary and Critical Studies Department.
But this issue of street harassment was brought home in this really personal way quite recently, when my 11-year-old daughter came home and reported to me again that she had been harassed by a middle-aged man on Wyandotte Avenue. And I said to myself, when are we done with this? And of course, I know that we're not done with this. This starts young, and it shows girls that the public space is not theirs. It influences the ways that we dress, that we move in the world, and it's not okay. Public spaces should be for everyone.
The event is being held along the riverfront at Olette Avenue this Sunday at 7 p.m. Well, Sandwich Secondary School in LaSalle is hosting its first ever Multicultural Festival that just started minutes ago. It runs until 9 p.m. tonight, and organizers are inviting the community to come out and visit. We're joined live by one of those organizers now, Anna. What all is happening for tonight's Multicultural Festival?
Hi. So we have a lot planned for tonight. We have information tables, we have booths run by students, by associations, we have food trucks, we have performances, mainly dance performances, some singing too, and then a fashion walk with everyone that dressed in cultural attire.
And Anna, why is it important for your school to host an event like this?
Well, we are a very diverse school, so I think it just makes sense for us to host something like this. It's awesome to celebrate everyone that comes to the school and studies here. And yeah, I think it just came as an agreement from the teachers and students that participate in this, that it was a great thing to do to just celebrate everyone that comes here.
And how did this idea come to be?
So one of the teachers just introduced the idea to us. They put it over the announcements, and we just started reaching out to other students that we knew could be interested because of where they're from or what they've done before. And we started getting together during lunches to discuss what could be done, and it just started coming back into life.
And my last question for you here, what do you hope people take away from the event tonight?
We just want them to enjoy different cultures. We want them to be able to see what's close to them, even if it's not actual traveling. So we just want them to be able to enjoy the cultures that live in Windsor and all the communities that are here. And yeah, just share all that's good from our cultures with other members of our community.
Well, thank you so much for that, Anna. We hope you have an awesome night tonight.
Thank you.
Today's the last day that Palladium Lanes, Windsor's only 5-pin bowling alley, will be open. After 8 decades, the owner has decided to sell. I went down to bowl one last frame at the historic bowling alley, and to hear from staff and loyal patrons as they spent their last moments there. It takes one glance around Palladium Lanes to see 80 years worth of memories. The East Windsor Bowling Alley has been a second home to many, but today that comes to an end.
I've had a awful time the last 3 months, saying a lot of goodbyes, informing a lot of people who've been long and devoted customers.
Mariano Macconi, who took over the business from his uncle in 1980, has sold the building. His decision to retire is painstaking.
It breaks up friendships, it breaks up a community of folks.
And that community has been loyal. For decades, families have been showing up. The bowling alley, a big part of their traditions and routines, especially for bowlers like Fran Grayer and her son Kyle. They've come every week for years.
Just gives him a sense of belonging, and then, you know, that familiarity of seeing those same familiar smiling faces.
Kyle, what do you like most about bowling?
The pop.
The pop, and it's fun, right?
Right.
But you like the pop at the concession stand,
yeah.
of course.
And how about the people that are here? Who do you like here?
Rose.
Rose, for sure.
How long have you worked here for?
38 years.
Rose Rosini took the job over from her mother, who had worked at Palladium for 22 years before Rose.
It's like your second family.
So this is your whole
This is
world.
my whole world. It is. Excuse me. Yeah, it is. It's my whole world. I could never think of going anywhere else to work. It's very, very hard for me. I'm going to miss it. You could not ask for a better man than Mariano as a boss and as a friend.
The decision to close also ends the era of 5-pin bowling in Windsor. At one time, Windsor had 3 bowling alleys that offered that specific game. There's hope to keep 5-pin going.
There's a group that want the bowling equipment, the lanes, the machines, whatever, the shoes, and they're going to warehouse it for a couple months because they think they have a location.
It's news that keeps Macconi and others optimistic as he prepares to hand the keys to a Windsor relic over to its new owner.
All my friends are here, and in a month from now, it's going to register pretty heavily when, I don't see everybody every day.
I was wondering if you would throw one last frame with me.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, let's go.
Here we go.
What are the chances?
Very rare, very rare.
Well, she's been a voice on morning radio in Windsor for more than 30 years, but today Lisa Williams signed off from the morning drive on AM 800 for the final time. Our Windsor morning host Amy Dodge went to CKLW yesterday just as she and her co-host Mike K. Cook were wrapping up their second last show together.
Tomorrow, I think it's really going to hit me. And if it doesn't tomorrow, then a couple of weeks from now it will. Because I've taken extended leaves before. I've had, problems with my voice. But you always know you're going back. This time it will be different.
It's been nearly 40 years. Yeah. Couldn't hold on for an extra couple?
No, I couldn't hold on for an extra couple. The time is right for me. I have aging parents that I really want to help and spend more time with. I've got my kids, 2 of them are getting married, so there's a lot of things that are happening now, and I've had problems with my voice, and I don't want it to happen again, so waiting 2 years I don't think is an option for me.
Tell me what it's going to be like saying bye to Mike after 20 years. It's like a marriage.
Yeah, Mike and I are good friends too, so I think we will stay in touch outside of things, but what I love so much about coming into work every day is, the fun and the information that we get out there on the air every morning and how accomplished we feel at the end of a show when we've done a really good one. But more than that, it's behind the scenes chatter that we have, the camaraderie that we share, as a lot of people can identify with, when they're at work and really get along with their coworkers. That's the kind of stuff I'll really miss.
Well, what a gorgeous Friday it was, and we're in for a nice, clear night. We have your weather forecast coming up after the break. My favorite time of the week. It's Friday, and Victor Paulo is here with your weekend weather forecast.
Windsor, a beautiful day today, followed up by a great weekend ahead. Now, spring showers are safe to say will be behind us, and let's welcome those June flowers. June is going to start tomorrow. May is all said and done at midnight tonight, and it was a great 31 days we've had. A lot of above seasonal temperatures and a very summer-esque-like feel in that Windsor air. Now, we also know next week will bring a little bit more rain than we like, but here's the thing, Windsor, we need that rain to make sure that our grass and gardens look as beautiful as we do, Windsor citizens. Now, here's one thing we can look at when it comes to average temperatures. We do know 23.3 is your average high, 12.2 is your average low, but when it comes to daytime highs for today, 25 was our high and 13 was our low. So you see we're right in that sweet spot for the lows, but when it comes to the highs, we're just a touch above. But then we're going to get a bit of rain starting next week, which will kind of balance things out for us. Now, taking a quick peek ahead of what we're going to be expecting for those overnight temperatures, well, it's going to be around the mid-teens. It's going to be a little bit of a warmer night in comparison to that single-digit night that we had yesterday. Brr. Now, we know it's going to be around 14 over here in Windsor, 15 in London, 14 in Chatham-Kent, 14 in Leamington. Let's not forget our good friends in Sarnia, where it's going to be 13 degrees. Now, looking at the long-range forecast of what exactly is happening over the air of Windsor, when are we going to get that rain, Victor? When exactly is it going to fall? Well, as you do start your Saturday, you see that increased cloud cover. The sky is going to get a bit thick, and following up after supper, close to the overnight when we start our Sunday, you're going to see that rain finally start to wash through. But as you do see, it's not really that big of a system, but in its wake will be more scattered showers. So, unfortunately, your Sunday is going to be kind of a wet one in comparison to the beautiful days that we've been having here in the area. Now, a quick look at how much rain accumulation will happen over the weekend. We do know right around 1 o'clock in the morning, not that much rain, but as you do get later on closer to 10, we're expecting around 10 millimeters to fall. Now, tomorrow, we're expecting daytime highs to be around 26 degrees. When we take a look at our 3 and 5 day forecast, we can see that we're in store for some, well, a beautiful Saturday, a bit of rain on Sunday, back to a beautiful Monday, and that much-needed rain on Tuesday and Wednesday. Have yourselves a great night, and over to you, Meg.
Josiah Sinninen is here now with our week's end segment. So, Josiah, now that we know what our weather forecast is going to look like, we could be better prepared for the weekend.
That's
and
right.
I understand there's a pretty big event going on.
Yeah, so Meg, it's Art in the Park, which is super exciting for all the Windsorites watching. That's our signal that summer is here, and it's one of those festivals that kicks things off, and it starts this weekend. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're there. It's a classic.
It absolutely is. Art in Park is a classic, and I know that you're newer to Windsor. Have you had a chance to go yet?
Yeah, so Meg, I am kind of a new Windsorite. This is my 3rd summer, but I did go last year. And what I can remember is that it was super hot outside, but it was really spectacular. And of course, as you mentioned, this year the weather will be a little bit calmer, so perfect for browsing. For everyone wanting those details, it takes place at Wilstead Park. It kicks off tomorrow at 10 a.m. And it's vendors from all over the country selling their wares, sculptures, artwork, food items. And the cool thing about this is that they're all jury-selected exhibitors. So you'll know that they're good artisans, they're original products. Great chance to pick up something unique with a homegrown story attached to it. And Meg, I'm sure you've been before. You're here a little longer than I've been.
Yes.
What do you remember about Art in the Park?
I have been before, and actually my grandfather sold pottery for years and years at Art in the Park. And he hasn't done that in a little while, but now I like to go and browse.
Yeah.
I do lots of browsing. Anything that you can tell us about some of the vendors?
Yeah, so we have a special vendor, a little sneak peek for everyone watching. It's a colorful preview of someone named Danielle Robitaille. This is her first time at Windsor's Art in the Park, and she drove all the way from Ottawa to be here. And her daughter, Christine, create these incredible stained glass pieces together.
This is actually my first year here. I did not know about Art in the Park until last year. My partner is my daughter, Christine, and we do traditional stained glass. And we do a lot of small pieces that we nickel plate. So those are fun and more along the crafty versus the art. Our owls and our crabs and all of these small pieces are nickel plated. So they're very durable and they're going to be shiny forever. She's been sitting beside me since she was a little girl. She was 2 years old and she had a high stool and she'd sit with me. So I've been doing it for over 36 years and she's been doing it for about 8 now. What's really interesting is we don't have the same style. And so she's more in the soft colors and I'm more in the brilliance. And so she does her thing, I do my thing, but collectively we do the small pieces together. And sometimes we'll make something that we think is really kind of mediocre, and it is our biggest seller. Somebody asked me for a frog one day, and I thought, who's going to want to buy a frog? They are selling like crazy. They're little bug-eyed frogs, and they're just little tiny things, and they go.
So there you go, Meg. Pretty amazing stuff. So as I mentioned, Denise is from Ottawa, and she was tipped off about Art in the Park from a jewelry maker here in Windsor, and she's heard a lot of good things about our festival in particular, that it's very well attended. So she's anxious and excited to see everyone. And the cool thing about Denise, of course, as you heard there, her daughter helps her with this, and she's been in the business for 36 years, and their method of that stained glass isn't as popular anymore. People usually do mosaics now, because it's faster, but this method that they use is quite labor intensive. So if you see Denise and her daughter on Saturday or Sunday, make sure you say hi.
Is there anything that you are looking forward to kind of picking up? Are you got your eye on something?
I don't really have a shopping list. My vibe at the flea market is to meander, listen to my soul, see what speaks to me. What about you?
Well, I would say I like the eating, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I like going through, and I like looking at the jewelry and all the kind of cool different artwork, but I like to eat. I like all the ice cream and all the goodies that you can get, so that's
so
kind of what I'm most looking forward to.
Well, maybe I'll see you there in the food court.
You absolutely might. Thanks so much for that, Josiah. We introduce you to the winner of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. That's coming up after the break. Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail today after being convicted on all 34 felony charges in his hush money trial. He slammed the U.S. legal system and said the fight to clear his name is far from over.
This is a scam. There's a rigged trial. It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge.
He repeatedly called the trial rigged and referred to the judge as the devil. He says his legal team plans to appeal the verdict. A New York jury found Trump guilty of falsifying business records in a scheme to buy and bury damaging stories about sex scandals ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Trump is the first ever U.S. president, former or current, to be convicted of felony crimes. He'll be sentenced on July 11th, just days before the Republican convention. U.S. President Joe Biden says the trial has reaffirmed that no one is above the law and says Donald Trump will have the chance to appeal the verdict like anyone else.
It's dangerous. It's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Our justice system has endured for nearly 250 years, and it literally is the cornerstone of America, our justice system. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down.
A 12-year-old from Tampa, Florida, has been crowned this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee champion. 7th grader Bruhat Soma spelled words most of us have never heard of.
Brouette.
Adelantado.
Adelantado.
Hypercheme.
Hyporchgme.
Bicelium.
Biscellum.
But it wasn't easy and went down to the wire. Soma correctly spelled 29 words in 90 seconds. In a lightning round tiebreaker to take the title, it's only the second spell off in the competition's history. The prestigious trophy comes with more than just bragging rights. The winner takes home a $50,000 prize. Competitors come from across the U.S. and other countries, including Canada and Germany. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here next week.